Hey everyone, how's it going? It is Either Real Randy Chavez coming at you today with, well, it was really just more of a Veve update, and it's really just a speculation, not really going to talk about anything else. Everyone say hello to Dashi. Hello, Dashi. Commenting, liking, and subscribing is a free way to help support the channel. Non-free ways are Patreon, smashing that super thanks button down below. Okay, let's get this spread. So I was talking to a whale of mine yesterday, and he was saying, hey Randy, are they still going to do a land sale? I mean, we were talking about a whole bunch of things, but this is something that kind of goes into what I'm talking about. And I said, well, it's going to be rolled out in 4 different phases. You know, phase 1 is going to be the Veveverse home space, which, you know, a lot of people are getting right now, in the beta version, that is. And, you know, more people should actually be invited this week. And then, you know, more, you know, next month, and more the month after. And the goal was to get them to release it all by the end of this year. It's looking like it'll be early next year, but, you know, that's fine. In November of 2022 at DCon, they said, hey, here's all the phases. You know, phase 1 with that was the home space, and OMI 2 accessory. So again, that should be in Q1 of 2024. Phase 2 is just supposed to be IP branded worlds. The only one we know of for a fact right now is Ron English's Delusionville. Ooh, a little warm in here. And on Delusionville, you know, he said he made like 100 different characters for it. And out of those 100 different characters, he mentioned something about the most recent drop that he did, you know, the Mogul Grin, you know, that one. So, you know, I got that, and might behoove some people to get that. I don't know the extent of what's going to happen or the utility for it, but that's the only one we know of. I'm really hoping for Cryptkins, because I have that set, and I think they're adorable, and I would love some supernatural worlds. You know, it's not like Universal's going to give us any monsters, because, you know, they haven't. Anyway, you know, you can make your speculations on whichever IP branded worlds you want, but that's going to be phase 2, which is likely going to be in Q2, Q3 of next year, give or take. Phase 3 is going to be customizable avatars. I'm really not 100% sure why they need this to be an entire phase. I mean, especially if it's going to be something like, you know, Fire Emblem, hey, customize your character, upload a photo, upload whatever, and it does that. Now, if it's something like what they were doing in when Lex Friedman interviewed Mark Zuckerberg in the Metaverse, it was great. Like, it was, if they do something like that, yeah, that could take a while, and I understand why that would need a whole phase. And then phase 4 is gamification. Now, where in that did I mention land sale? Well, I kind of didn't, but here's where that comes in. They're not going to have land sale, obviously, this year. We're very, very late into the year, you know, about a third of the way through the quarter. And they don't even have the Veve home space out yet, so it's not going to be this year. They're going to have to wait for the Veve home space to come out, and they're probably going to wait for IP branded worlds. You're likely not going to get the be able to buy land before you know where the best places are to buy land. So probably after that. So I would say towards the end of 2024. But to be honest, again, part of that gamification could be that land sale. And the reason why I bring this up, the reason, you know, for this whole video is really for two questions that I had. One was by Prince Toby, so shout out to him for that. And the other was something by this guy named Sandbox. So I'll go and say Prince Toby saying, do you think in the Veveverse people will be able to gamble land? I hope so. I think that'd be really fun. God, could you imagine losing your house like on, I don't know, like a dice roll? You know how they did in, you know, episode 1, Star Wars Phantom Menace, where Qui-Gon just uses the Force to manipulate the dice. You may have won the small toss Outlander, but you'll never win the race, so it makes no difference. I love Watto. Anyway, and he goes on and he says, do you think land will go up and down in price based on stuff in it, like who lives in it, like real life? Well, yes. I think I saw this in Earth 2, where, which by the way, I still have the biggest, longest road of land in Earth 2 in my megacity. But every time I would try to go and buy a 750 tile plot wherever it was, whether it was in Russia, India, China, Brazil. Like, you couldn't buy that in the US, it's too expensive, but any other place trying to buy a 750 tile plot is exceedingly difficult, because once you buy it, at least for the influencers, whenever you buy that lot, everyone is, oh my god, Randy just bought the spot, and they're going to buy all the places around it. So, you know, if you go and buy, let's say if David Yu goes in and buys a piece of land, and everyone's gonna be like, oh, David Yu just bought this, they're gonna all buy the land around him, just because they will. It's likely that if David's gonna do something like that, he would go in and use like an alt account, or he would have somebody else do it. Like, you know, he'll use whoever, maybe one of the workers, like, hey, buy this land for you. You know, I'll buy it from you. Just buy this land so people don't buy the land around it. I mean, that's how Disney does it in the in the real world, when they go and they set up a new park. Like when they were going to set up Disney World, you know, Disneyland was first in California, Disney World's in Florida. They would come up with fake shell companies called M as in Mike, T as in Tango lots, as in MT lots, and they would go buy up a certain amount of land, certain amount of land, so nobody knew what Disney was up to. And then because once they found out, yo, Disney's buying land here, they're gonna make a park over here. Everyone started trying to buy the land and try to outbid Disney, but Disney has like almost unlimited money, so you know that didn't work out. So yes, you know, when you have, let's say, like a row of land, and it doesn't matter where it is, because I could imagine some parts of the land, depending on what it's connected to or what it's around, will have utility. Oh, could you, like, let's say, let's say they have, I don't know, do we have any fireworks? Or let's say there's a Marvel land or whatever, and then you see, you know, on Marvel land, let's say they have Avengers Tower. You know, we have Avengers Tower in our collection. And they go, and this by no means that we have a Marvel land. I have no idea. I would love that. This is just an example. We have a Marvel land, and each night, Tony Stark on the Avengers Tower puts on a fireworks show. That would be really heckin' cool. Or let's use this example. Princess Peach. You know, Peach at Toadstool's castle. She goes and she has a fireworks show. Everyone's going to want to go and buy land around that because they get a free fireworks show every night. You know, just things like that, I think would be really, really cool. So if you have that, obviously that land's going to go up. But then if you have another strip of land, let's say it's away from the action, but you have Mr. MC1 there, Mr. 41, you have, you know, Rolex, you have the real Randy Chavez, you have all these, like, the faces of the community. You know, let's say you have Foster, you have Comics and Crypto, you have, you know, Taps Trade goes there. Let's say, let's get some women there. Let's say like Fam Bam, K Collections, Veve Magic. Let's say we all get a spot. Everyone's going to be like, oh, I want to be around them all the time. You know, that's just what's going to happen. So, yes. And then, you know, if you have a place that's filled with trolls, you know, Troll City, you might have some people go there for fun, be like, oh, I want to check out the trolls. But for the most part, you know, nobody's going to be around there. And if trolls go into your, you know, let's say you're trying to build a paradise, trying to build whatever, but then, you know, a known fudder or a known person that likes to bust people's chops, you know, comes in and buys that land, like, oh man, now we have to buy this fool out, or we just have to move. You know, there goes the neighborhood, a troll came in. So yes, I do think that'll happen. The other thing that I was going to say, okay, so we have Sandbox, this is the person's name. He said, in a different project, and I'm not sure which one, it could be any of the metaverses out there, it says that someone bought multiple plots of land in a design shape of a swastika. I wonder how it would be handled, you know, if this were in the Veveverse. Okay, so this gets to be really, and this is going to get political, so fair warning. Me, as a brown person, I don't really like swastikas. I don't like, you know, people that think that one race is better than the other. I think that most people, I feel like in the world should probably feel that way. That, you know, we all have our strengths and we all have our weaknesses and follies, but we're all people and we should just treat each other as people. But obviously you do have people that feel that way. And let's say if there was a, you know, let's say a business, let's say a cupcake shop that says, hey, Randy, I don't want you in the shop because you're brown. And I'd be like, okay, well, I'm just not going to go to this cupcake shop. And I think other people should also not go to that cupcake shop because they're racist or they're, you know, whatever. Maybe they don't like women or a religious group, whatever. I think people should just go and not do that. I don't think, let's say this happens in the real world. I don't think it should be the responsibility of the government to shut that down. I think, you know, people should go, and especially as a business owner myself, the government shouldn't be in control of that stuff. And the same thing with free speech. If somebody goes around saying like, hey, F all these brown people and F all these Peruvians, sorry, I was going to laugh at that. You know, F anyone who's adopted. And it's like, okay, well, that's 3 for 3 on me. You know, am I going to be friends with that person? No. To agree with anything that person says? No. Should the government force him to stop saying that stuff? No, I don't think the government should have that power. Now, granted, this is the government talking, or me talking about the government, not necessarily what's happening in Veve, but just as a, you know, former United States military member, free speech is a very important thing. And I think it should be held up around the world, in the metaverse, and wherever. Because I've seen places where, you know, government takes a lot of liberties in their power, and, you know, a lot of times they use power they don't have, and it becomes horrible, and you don't want to live like that. That being said, for the Veveverse, well, Veve's not the government. Veve's a private company. They can do really whatever they want, and if somebody's going to go in and buy land in the form of a hate symbol, Veve, I think, should have that power to be like, hey, no, we're going to maybe not suspend the account, be like, hey, you can't do that. You can't make it all one color to make it look like this. Like, I don't know exactly what they could or should do, but again, they are a private company. They could just ban the person. They could just give the person a refund, have other people go and, you know, auction it off to other people, or just have a conversation, be like, hey, if this is a joke, okay, haha, but you can't do that. Now, don't get me wrong. I love comedy, and I love, if something's funny, it's funny. Like, if somebody, you know, if there's a brown joke out there, I'm going to be the first one to laugh, because, you know, those things are, in my opinion, are funny. And it's unfortunate that some things that really should not be joked about are funny. And I don't know where that line is. But again, if it's something that is going to upset a lot of people, I think Veve should have that power to be like, hey, we're going to stop you from doing this. Again, they are a private company. I think they have the foresight and the knowledge and the wherewithal to be like, hey, this is okay, this is not. And it's just something I wanted to go and bring up, just because it is something that is going to come up in the future. I think someone asked me the other day, like, why did you ask David about, I'm not even going to say it, you know, private, I'm not even going to say that. I guess I will. I asked him about certain things that you could do in the privacy of your own Veve home. And that's the other thing, like, what are the things in the Veveverse will you not be allowed to do? And how do you combat that? If somebody's going to go around, you know, like teabagging people, you know, that can get really annoying. That's funny. I'm not going to explain to you what teabagging means. Go Google it. None of that on my channel. Yep, absolutely none of that on my channel. Anywho, that's kind of one of the other things I wanted to talk about. Jordan Rees said, hey, there's this other metaverse game where, and they actually have this in Earth too, or they will, there's a warring world and a non-warring world. And if you're a part of the warring world, you know, you get these benefits, you could do whatever, anyone could, you know, yeet you off the map at any time. And then there's a non-warring world where you could choose to not be part of the warring world and everything's peaceful. So I think that you should be able to just block people or, you know, have the ability to turn off obscenities in the Veveverse, because you shouldn't have to look at that if you don't want to. But if you want to be part of the chaos, you should have every right to go and be like, yeah, bring it on. I think that would be really fun, to have something that's, you know, kind of R-rated and something that's a little more family-friendly, because I think you could have both. And it should just take the toggle of a button, and that's it. Comment down your thoughts below, and yeah, everyone say bye-bye to Dashie. Bye-bye, Dashie. I love you guys. Bye.